So I have actually done some work. And I had a couple of poems to work on. Technically, I had one commissioned poem, a Fiverr poem. And so this was another live stream. And I'm just going to say right now, if you see my face down there just freaking the fuck out, I had a really bad migraine. I actually ended up cutting the stream short because the migraine was getting really bad. And yeah, so anyway, so first commission, it's a memorial. A dog has passed and someone has asked me to write a to write something for this dog, and they mentioned that the dogs remaining, which are these two right here, really missed their buddy, and it made me really sad. And I wanted to make something kind of somber, and yeah. So it took me, as usual, a fucking longer than it should have time to do anything with GIMP. I don't do it enough to like remember all the things I learned, but I did figure out the fuzzy select, so that was good. My idea for this was the poem actually came to me fairly easily. I don't know, the person who requested it kept saying that the dog that had passed was such a little shit, but they were my little shit. And I totally understand that. Like, both of my cats are little shits, but they're mine. So I was trying to go for the poem itself, I was trying to go for something kind of tongue-in-cheek from the perspective of the past dog, which is weird. And then for the graphic element, it ended up really looking like a memorial poster, and that's fine. That's what the commissioner. Saying customer is weird. But the person who requested it liked it as is. But so I'm kind of fiddling around here, describing how I want the layout to look, and basically I kind of want I could have flipped the dogs if I wanted to, but since they're looking off to one side, I was thinking I'd have the poem kind of off to that side, and having a nice somber background. And I don't know, I like I said, this ended up looking very memorial-y to me, and that's fine because it is a memorial. It is a memorial poem for this dog that has passed. Yay fuzzy select. I will get better at GIMP probably. So what was I talking about here? Oh, one of the things that I thought was weird, and this is an issue with the opacity, maybe, with the fuzzy select. It was leaving like this weird shadow, and it probably wouldn't have mattered too much. What was I looking up here? I don't remember what I was looking up here. Like I said, most of this was fairly addled. Oh, I was talking about, I went on a rant, a tangent about my time abroad. I was trying to describe like the type of poetry I'm into, because poetry in general, the way I was taught poetry in high school, was in a very inaccessible way. Like, I like literature and I like critical literature theory and things like that. And I find that a lot of the poetry that I've been introduced to is very closed off. Like, you have to understand a lot of references. I can think of a couple artists, poets that are like that are their work is so full of references and they're very elitist, and I don't like that. So I was trying to write poetry that was a lot more accessible, and it ended up being really weird and strange. But that little thing there was basically a brief little interlude where I was trying to describe like the sheer panic and terror I had when I was learning GIMP, because I'm self-taught on Photoshop and Adobe Premiere, and when I left the job that I self-taught myself those two programs on, I did have Adobe I had, I did have Adobe for a little while, and then I couldn't pay for it anymore. Actually, I think the real problem was I changed computers, and I didn't want to have to do a constant like subscription thing. I don't like that. So I'm using GIMP, which is open source, and I basically had to kind of, it wasn't completely from scratch, because GIMP really is very similar to Photoshop, so it wasn't a complete rehash, but I was like kind of reteaching myself all over again. I forget what story I'm getting into here. I might not even be getting into a story. I might be kind of trying to describe, or trying to I know I was really concerned. I didn't want people to think that I was being an asshole when I did the poem. And you'll see what I mean once the poem comes on screen, because it's not as somber or sad as I think a lot of people might expect. But yeah, so that damn shadow. This is just me fussing, honestly. Like, I'm fussing a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect. The picture quality was okay, but it wasn't amazing. And then I realized that, oh shit, you know what? I bet this canvas isn't the right size. Most of the work that I do, I want it to be on an 8x11 at least. And I think that's just a holdover from, like, just your standard sheet of letter paper. So I realized, oh crap, this is the wrong size. Oh god. So here I am, just kind of resizing everything badly, incorrectly. I wanted to keep the dimensions for some stuff. The only reason why I kept the background was just in case I needed it. The rest of everything I was trying to, so here I did something stupid. Now by this point I've had some drugs, because like I said, that migraine was killing me, and they're starting to kick in. So I'm fucking around with a goddamn background, and then okay, yeah, here we go. I fuck around with it, and I get annoyed with it, and I'm just like, so anyway, just one of those stupid little things. So I think the layout is good, but it's kind of boring. And so I'm trying to figure out how. I was going to do something stupid. I was going to do something really, really stupid. And I'm really glad I didn't do it. Because I wanted there to be like a halo or something around them. Excuse me. And then I figured out about drop shadows. And I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. I want something like that. Something just to kind of, I don't know. I don't know. Part of me is sort of like, I look back at this now and I'm like, are those dogs the ones that died? Are they lit by a heavenly light? In my head, like, I wanted the color to be yellow-ish, for a couple of reasons. One, the contrast looks nicer, but also it's an earthier color, because the poem, which is going to go on the right side of the screen there when I finally fucking get to it, I knew I was going to have the poem be, I wanted that to have a more ethereal glow, and to me that means like a white or a blue or something. Here I am getting more drugs because I'm losing it, and I just gotta say, like, migraines are horrible. The migraines that I get are fucking awful. Like, I've had migraines basically most of my working life for various reasons. And while I think I know what the cause of this particular migraine was, it was bad. It was really bad. I couldn't walk in the morning. So normally how I deal with migraines is, if I can't make it stop, I just try to get to sleep. Because generally speaking, your body relaxes enough when you're asleep that you wake up and you're fine. So I don't know what that dance was. Again, just ignore the face in the corner there. That was another thing with Fiverr. So I have like a 48-hour turnaround, and I try to have these done within 24 hours, at least what I call the draft. Now, sometimes the draft is final, and that's what the case was here. I whipped it up. I did do edits, and I did do a couple passes of the poetry as I'm working on it. And then also I had it written out in a separate notebook, because I like writing in notebooks. I do try to have it done within 24 hours. That was the other thing. I got this earlier this morning, and so I was working really hard to have it done. And the reason for that is because if someone wants to submit an edit of some kind, I want to make sure I'm giving myself enough time to do that without having to, like, you know, stay up all night or drop everything. So anyway, migraines, they suck. So the next morning after this, I literally could not walk. I couldn't get up out of bed. When I tried, I got really, really sick. And we fixed it. It got bad enough to the point where I had to take some heavy, hardcore painkillers, basically. And they made me real loopy, like uncomfortably loopy. I think I told my partner that I was full of bees. I think that's how I put it, is I just felt like I was full of bees. Okay, so what's happening here is I'm ranting about line spacing. And this is a genuine pet peeve of mine. So the line breaks in poems are there for a reason. And I get annoyed when people read a poem like it's a sentence. So what you can see on the line there, or on the screen here, is I was always walking in circles around you because I was a champion and we both knew it. That's how you would say it if it was a normal fucking sentence. But that's not how it's laid out, and the reason why it's laid out a particular way is to bring emphasis and a kind of rhythmicality, that's not a word, a sort of rhythmic feeling to the sentence or to the line or whatever. So the way that I would read those first three lines would be, I was always walking in circles around you because I was a champion and we both knew it. That has a cadence that I like, I find interesting. And now I'm going to mess with it. There's a couple things I'm thinking about when I'm looking at a poem like this. The first thing I'm thinking about is how it looks on the page. And the other thing I'm thinking about, like I said, is that cadence. So I'm trying to do two things here. I want it to have a certain, even though I'm not doing a whole lot of weird shit like I would for, you know, something a little bit more experimental, I still want it to lay out on the page a particular way. So that's why I was kind of messing around with the line breaks a little bit. And then the other thing that I want to keep in mind is, of course, the cadence. So I went back and forth on this a couple of times, messing around with the line breaks and then saying it a few times to make sure that the cadence was still in a place where I liked it. I'm not saying that there's like a perfect cadence, and there are forms of poetry that I've done, that other people have done, that are a little bit more, they're meant to be kind of run-on sentences. I've been thinking about this for a while. I can't for the life of me remember what that type of poem is called, but it looks like a block of text, and it's a lot of, not entirely, it's not one giant run-on sentence, but it's a lot of run-on sentences. And because it's constrained, I often see them being very constrained, so it's not like the full page. It's like a small, like, thin column of text, and that arbitrary column does something interesting, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, so here's that ethereal thing I was talking about. That light is a little bit more yellowy, I think, than what my original vision was, but I didn't want to screw with it too much because I really liked how that faded out. And again, you have this cadence broken up in a particular way. I like the layout. It's, you know, taking up enough space for me to kind of like how it's positioned. What I did notice, and what I was talking about a little bit with chat, was it's a little kind of bare in the upper left-hand corner there. So someone in chat, her name is Pickle. Well, I don't know her real name. Sorry, Pickle. But she's a streamer. I'll link her down below, I think. I think I'll link everyone who was in chat with me because they were all like super lovely. But she does like graphic design among other things, and she had recommended like a little swirly dooly, a filigree kind of thing. And I thought actually that would have been a super great idea. I was a bit tired to do it this night, so I sent this as is to the customer, and I just sort of said, you know what, it's a bit minimalist. If you want me to add anything or do anything else, let me know. Like I said, it ends up feeling and looking like a memorial poster, which is another reason why I'm not gonna, if you can see the poem as is, I don't want to spend too much time reading it and discussing it too much. It feels a little weird. I always feel a little bit weird doing Fiverr videos because like this is a poem that someone has bought. I don't know. I feel it's weird. I don't know. It's my process video. So yeah, that's where we are with that one. This remarkably, since I kind of had an idea of what I wanted, and it was very minimalist, it was very simple. I wanted it to be somber. I wanted it to be, you know, appropriate for a memorial for a dog who has passed. Because it was done, I decided that I was going to work on another poem that I've been meaning to work on for a while, and I don't finish it, so that's why this title is 1.5 poems. We have to pause for cats. Cats that then cover the mic and the camera and everything. So this poem that I will start working on momentarily as soon as I find it in the journal I've pulled out from the chest and I stop being distracted by all the kitties. This poem is part of, well, it's something that I wrote, and I don't want to say this poem specifically inspired this idea, but I don't remember where the phrase came from. Probably Tumblr or something, or Twitter, something like that, where someone was talking about how as a creative person, they often felt the need, like their form of rebellion was destructive. They were always sort of destroying themselves in one way or another for the sake of creativity. And they said that at some point they realized that actually the true form of rebellion was to heal themselves. And so the phrase that I've had stuck in my head for, I want to say, over a year now is this rebellious act of healing. And I decided that I wanted to write a book, or not write it. Well, I am writing another book. That's a story for a different time. I wanted to compile a collection of poetry around that, this rebellious act of healing. And I wanted it to include things like this poem that I'm writing here, which, so this poem style, the first line is also the title, and I totally stole that from a poet called HD, who does that a lot. In fact, is HD near me? Hello, HD, are you near me? HD is really far away from my recording setup, so HD trilogy, great collection of poems. But she does this a lot, where again the first line is part of the poem, the first line is the title. Sometimes I just love how that works. I really do. So yeah, already I know I want this to fit on a single page, and the reason why will probably, hopefully, become clear in a little bit. And I start realizing that I'm gonna have to make these lines a bit longer to do what I want to do, to get everything to fit, and B, again, I'm kind of, a lot of this particular poem is a little bit more conversational. So in general, if I'm doing really short, choppy lines, of course, it feels like, you know, what happens if you have short, choppy sentences. It accelerates everything. This poem has a bunch of quotes and thoughts and things, which I don't normally do, but again, I don't know, this particular poem sort of came out of, I don't want to say nowhere. Oh gosh, I'm being attacked by a cat. I'm being attacked by a kitten who's trying to eat the mic stand. Hi Jack, do you want to say hi? No, you don't. Okay. Well, there's a teeny kitten in my lap right now. I just want everyone to know. Please don't eat the mic. Please don't do that. It's the title of the poem is To the People with Perfect Partners, or to all the people with perfect partners. And the idea is that if you struggle with any mental illness or any disability or any general illness, and you have the support of a partner or a friend or family, it's really hard not to feel like a burden, right? And in my case, I often feel like it's my own fault. Like, there are the mind, my mind at least, is tricky. It wants to trick me into being sick. The illness that is depression works really hard to keep me depressed. So the things that you could normally use to kind of self-repair, they become twisted. And that shows up in a lot of different ways. In my case, it shows up in so one of the examples I have in the poem is where I say to, or the narrator says to their partner, you know, I'll do better, I'll get up and do the dishes. That's something so easy. It's a small, simple task. And some days it feels like that task is freaking impossible. I believe in the ritual of lists. I have lists all over the place, and you can kind of tell how good or bad a mood I'm in based on the list, like the depth, the detail of the list. So for example, like a regular day for me might be, you know, clean kitchen, clean cat boxes, put away laundry, go to work, you know, something like that. If a particular bad day will be put dishes in dishwasher, remove clean dishes from dishwasher, wipe down counters, clean cat box number 1, clean cat box number 2, pull laundry out of dryer, put laundry away. You know, it gets a little bit more specific because I need smaller goals to try to meet. And I guess all this is to say that, like, something simple like fucking doing the goddamn dishes is hard sometimes in ways that just don't fucking make any sense. But anyway, so back to poem structure. I've got it laid out here how I want it. And in my head, when I wrote this poem, what I wanted was sort of like almost like static in the background. And the static of the background is the two warring voices that at least I have. And I'd be willing to bet a lot of people have. Again, if they're kind of going through some shit and they feel guilty for being ill or you know, not being able to function the way that they think they should. And those two warring voices for me are, you know, the urge to tell my partner, like, I'm trash, I'm nothing, you need to leave me because you could do so much better. And I do honestly believe that. Like, you could do so much better. What the fuck are you doing wasting your time on me? But there's also this voice that I find selfish, and it, you know, that could be up for debate in a lot of different ways. But there's also the voice that says, no, please, I will do anything to keep you with me. Please stay with me. So what I wanted in the back of the poem, kind of like static, is something like that, where you've got just this internal dialogue constantly going, you should leave, run away, you don't want to be with me, I'm a mess, I'm horrible. And this other voice that's saying, no, please, what can I do? I'm so sorry, I'll be better, I can do better, please don't leave me. Kind of going back and forth, not even competing, because it's not like one ever wins, like they both exist at the same time. So I'm just kind of fucking around with figuring out how I want that to lay out. And even as I'm looking at it, I'm probably going to change it a little bit the next time I start working on this. This is really tedious. There's no way around it. Sometimes I just like tedious things. I really do. I just also want to say shout out to chat for like seeing some of the typos that I had in the main poem, if you will. Now I know this looks horrible, right? This looks terrible. You can't fucking see nothing. What the hell? You can't read anything. I'm gonna fix that. Give it a second. Believe. You gotta believe in me. Right here what I'm doing is, again, like, it's visual, right? So you have that internal voice that's always going on in the back of your head, you know, whatever. Like, if you think of the main poem as kind of like the conscious thought, this is the thing I'm trying to say, there's this stuff that's just, again, static in the back of your head constantly. And sometimes some of the thoughts from that subconscious static will like boop pop up and you're just like, oh yeah, yeah, that. And they bleed, and at least, again, this is for me, they bleed into my actions, they bleed into my thought patterns and the things I see and think and feel. And, yeah, so that's what that is. So there you go. Here's the static. And then what I think I'm going to do to kind of better highlight some of these things, as soon as I finish saving. But yeah, right around here is where I'm starting to feel really not amazing. Part of it too, there was a lot of things that happened that day. I donated plasma, which is a process. It takes a lot out of me. Whatever, doesn't matter. So here we go. That's how I'm gonna highlight or bring emphasis to random bits and bobs. So yeah, I was feeling quite badly. I'm staring at a bright screen. And I'm quite high at this point because I'm trying to kill the pain enough to function. And, it's not working. I'm sorry, I'm just watching me like slowly lose my mind. But for the next, like, you know, couple minutes of the stream, I was basically just, you know, apologizing. Yeah, if anyone wants any tips on how to fix migraines, cold or hot on the back of the neck can help a lot. Taking a hot bath can help because it can pull away some of the blood from your head. Temple massages, dark. If it gets really, really super bad for a long time, some clean, plain Epsom salt, which is basically just magnesium. Dump it in water. You'll poop a lot, but your muscles are all relaxed, which is why you'll poop a lot. That's how you fix a migraine. Anyway, I'm going to finish the rest of this a little later, but I guess for now that's kind of it. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. If you want to watch some of this craziness live on stream, feel free to find me on Twitch. Okay, thanks, bye.